Hello, you are listening to the podcast Draw Me the World of Tomorrow. On the occasion of the second International Day of the Little Prince, we give a voice to those who create our future. Explorers, comedians, activists, entrepreneurs, all share the same ambition: to inspire the wind of renewal and work together for the world of tomorrow.
My name is Franziska Gsell. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of IWC Schaffhausen, and I'm also the Sustainability Committee Chair of IWC Schaffhausen. If I think about positive sustainability, what comes to my mind is looking at our industry and at IWC is that we produce watches, we manufacture watches for generations to come as well. I mean, it's actually long-lasting products. So some of our watches are still ticking for more than 150 years. And if you just think about that, you know, that we produce sustainable products as such because they live forever if you treat them well, it's only right that everything we do is partnered with a long-term thinking as well. So that everything that goes in the product is sustainable and responsibly done. And when we think about that, then it's really we champion that message of meeting the needs of the present without, and that is important, without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. And there has so much thoughtful topics in it, right? I mean, that we never rest on what we have just achieved. We describe the sustainability efforts we do at IWC as a journey, and it's a journey that never ends, and it brings you, from one goal or one objective to the next. And it's not comfortable, the journey we have picked, because we look into every angle of our business to really make sure that it is the best way to treat the planet we live in, and we have just this one planet, the best way we can. And we just recently launched, actually 2 months ago, our latest strap solution, a vegan strap. It's called TimberTex, and TimberTex is 80% natural fibers from FSC certified trees. And it's 100% naturally dyed and handmade in Italy. And that is just an innovative approach, an offer for our customers with a low-impact vegan strap solution. But that is just one example, and therefore I say we look into every angle of our business. And that is, for me, positive sustainability, because the positive part is that we are manufacturing watches that last forever, and that everything that goes in the watch is most responsibly done. When I think about the positive impact we can do to change things and have a positive impact on the planet, actually, when we think about that, all of us, every one of us, can do that every day. But when I think then first about IWC and what we do here, we started quite early with our sustainability journey. We joined, for instance, the Responsible Jewellery Council back in 2012, so nearly 10 years ago, and adopted the best practice standards that are set for the watch and jewellery sector. It actually goes back to even our founder, Florentine Arrester Jones, who traveled all the way from Boston, the US, to Switzerland and started his business of manufacturing the best pocket watches from his time in Schauffausen. He started the business on renewable energy and chose Schaffhausen to be close to the hydropower of the River Rhine. And that still runs in our veins. And when we look at, for instance, that we purchased 100% renewable electricity globally, and in many places are already 100% on renewable energy. I mean, this is the commitment we give, and this is an impact we can make. Sustainability is very close to my heart, and I think most people have it very close to their heart. I think it has given me an extra layer, so to speak, when I became a mother, because then you might even care more because you think about the next generation. And I had this striking conversation with my little son. I mean, he's only 10 years old, and he asked me a couple of weeks ago, "Mommy, will I still have a future?" If you think about that, that was so striking to me, because when I was 10, in all honesty, I was just playing with my dolls or whatever I did, but I never thought about the planet as hard as my son does. And I think that is so important, that we consider what we do and we think about the impact, the things we choose or have. And I think us as customers, consumers, we have a lot of power, to change the way companies are operating, just by asking the right questions, by asking for certifications. There is another example for the Positive Luxury Butterfly Award we have at IWC as well, that I ask, as a client, as a customer, as a consumer, take my right to understand, how a product is produced. And if I look into my own family, what we, for instance, have changed is that we reduced our consumption of meat, so that we eat quite often vegetarian or vegan, that we choose the regional products and the seasonal products, so that we really eat in the season. Then there are so many choices you can make and have an impact. Or when I take again an example of my son, I mean, he even would stop people in the street, who want to throw away a PET bottle, and ask them why they have not purchased the glass bottle. I mean, that is how far you can go, and that, I mean, in every area you can have and make an impact. When I think about the watch industry, or in general all the industries around us, I think there is no other way than really looking into the impact you have on all the different measurements. And I think that has changed quite a lot with the pandemic as well, because people have stopped for a while, have questions much more, even where they spend the money, what they spend it for. And yes, I think that the watch industry is changing as all the other industries are changing, because at the center of everything we do is our client, right? Is our customers. And as I said earlier, I mean, we are producing a lasting product. So it's only right that everything that goes into it is fully transparently sourced and most responsibly done. We decided a couple of years ago that we want to choose a very transparent and open conversation with all the different stakeholders we have. And the decision we took at IWC is that we published a sustainability report. We actually published in 2020 our third report. We do it every second year. That's why we say it's a journey. So we go from a 2-year cycle to the next cycle, and we then publish transparently 8 to 9 objectives where we measure ourselves against in the different areas of sustainability. But that has been a commitment we have given, that we open our window and let you into our industry, so that you see how we are producing, how we are caring, that we foster a dialogue and a conversation, which is very important, because once you open up and you commit yourself to a transparent reporting, and we have adopted the GRI standard, the Global Reporting Initiative standards, which give or commit you to the highest level of transparency, then you start this conversation, and this conversation never ends, because it actually gives you a lot of input from your clients, from the different stakeholders, from the employees as well. And that motivates you to even do more than just the targets you set into the objectives for the next cycle. So that has been very important to adopt this strategy. Another very important step was that we formed a committee. I chair the sustainability committee at IWC, and it consists of all the different departments and 50% of the participants in the committee. And that is so important, that you have all the departments present and that we commit ourselves together to reach our goals and to reach these objectives. And that is so important, that the entire company is part of it. If we think, about all the ambassadors we have in the markets, and that is equally important because they have this day-to-day conversation with our clients, that we really have the conversation, open the window, show what we do, get the input, and go further. And that has been a very important step and a journey which is exciting, to continue. It's very exciting to continue. It's challenging as well. It's not comfortable, but is a lot of passion and pleasure in it as well. Let me speak a bit about the Little Prince and the ecological approach and the quotations maybe or values that come from the Little Prince. It inspires me really a lot. It's such a beautiful book. A beautiful book I have read to my son many times. And I mean, what I really love is the quote that you become responsible forever for what you have tempt. And that's such a strong and great quote. And such an important lesson as well. And the other one I really love is that all grown-ups were once children, but only few of them remember it. When you think about this term, what you have tempt, you become responsible forever, is a bit this sustainability journey as well. What you started to do, you should never let go, and you should always strike for higher and do better and do more. So it is really a mission. Sustainability is a mission which will never end. And we are always searching for the next thing we can do and the next progress, the next innovation. And that is what drives us. That is what motivates us. And then to the second quote, really thinking about looking at the eyes of how a child looks at it. It is often straightforward and simple, and we sometimes overcomplicate things. And that is a message as well, that you do the little things and do the big things and question, what is around you. Never lose your interest and spirit to wonder for the next things that can come. That gives you a lot of inspiration as well. And that is the beauty about that book, which is so illustrative. That moral of responsibility and faithfulness is so important. By investing time and energy into something, you are forever intertwined together. And that is such a beautiful message and so inspirational for IWC as well. Let me think and explore a bit about recent events, that gave me hope, that sparkled my eyes, that inspired me. When I joined IWC, and that was more than 6 years ago, I can't remember exactly which year it was, but I think it was 2016 when our colleagues in Hong Kong did with an artist this beautiful exhibition showing the Little Prince and the friends of the Little Prince as sculptures. When I realized, that I can see it, but that there are many people who cannot see it, but then they can touch it and see a Little Prince as I just see it with my own eyes. And that was very, very touching for me. another very touching moment I had was when you did this braille translation of The Little Prince and the Friends, and you can just touch it with the fingertips. And that was equally striking for me, to realize, that I can just see it and other people don't have it as I do, but they can touch it now. And that I think was very, very inspiring for me. And then, of course, working at IWC in general, I'm lucky to be involved in many different projects that inspire me and give me hope, so to speak. And I might speak quickly about the Laureus World Sports Awards or the Laureus Sports for Good, which uses the power of sport to change people's lives and especially children's lives. So sports unites children which might not have the same advantage as others in life. And that is very inspirational if you then see the different projects around the world where kids come together and they have a possibility to see their sports idols in real life, and that you bring them together to become equal by the power of the sport. That is striking. And then I think back on just the last year where we had this beautiful initiative called Time Well Shared, where we had our dear friends of the family, so to speak, the dear friends of IWC, reading to the audience at home, because we were all in lockdowns, from The Little Prince. And that was so striking, when you saw around the globe our friends reading The Little Prince and knowing, that so many families, children were listening. I mean, that was beautiful and nice and a very, very great experience. Another striking moment was when we published our sustainability report, because you do that and you are always a bit nervous as well, because you open that window, you open the conversation, you show what you do, you get feedback, which is exciting because you get challenged in this, as I described earlier, 2-year cycle. That is a very inspirational and inspiring moment as well, with this transparency that keeps you moving, right? It keeps you on your toes. As our customers and colleagues can decide for themselves if our choices are sustainable. And you will get the feedback if you open up. And that we provide this measurable roadmap, which we follow up and which we will now in a couple of weeks show the progress, because 1 year is over, so that we show in this 2-year cycle what we have achieved or where we stand. And I think that is exciting and challenging and drives us to do better. When I think about the next generation, or even later generations like my son, I believe and I trust, that we have the ability to change, that we all care for the planet we live in. And I know if we do it together and really all do our bit, we will definitely have a positive outcome and save this planet. And this is what I say to my son. This is what I say to all the next generations, including our generations. I mean, it is us. We can make this change, but we have to do it today, right? We cannot wait for tomorrow. Today matters, and all of us can have our little contribution. Companies can do bigger contributions, which we are doing at IWC. And that is for me the hope, because I know that we are humans and we can change. We can change and we can look at things and we can think. And we can think, and that is what I said earlier. We as customers, we have the power to change by taking the right decisions.
It was the Little Prince podcast. Draw me the world of tomorrow. Thank you for listening and see you on the next episode.